Hi, so with this video, I'll be looking at a book what was first announced, I think back last September, could have been July, August actually. It's about mid-year last year. Um, and it's a book since then that I have wanted to get. It's by my favourite publisher and it's featuring my favourite, well, not my favourite, but one of my favourite characters from this publisher. It's published by Rebellion, owners of 2000 AD. And it's Slaine. So last year, what was it last year? Yeah, there was that big gigantic Slaine the Horned God by Simon Bisley, what I did a review of. Check my 2000 AD selection of videos and you'll be able to see my big in-depth review of that, which I loved. Gigantic, oversized. And I thought, and at that time I thought, oh, I'd love them to do some more Slaine, and they are doing. So I also did some other videos which you can check out, which was the definitive Nemesis the Warlock, which I've got the first two of so far. I'm getting the third one soon. But they've done in that range now, they're doing Slaine. So this is book one. It's very big. So standard size graphic novel compared to this. As you can see, really big chunky boy. There's 256 pages of content. Really nice cover design. Gives you the bump on the back. Normal price is £19.99, US dollars $25.95, Canadian dollars $34.95. And this is the perfect way to get into Slaine. So these initial story arc of Slaine featured, I was going to say two artists, but it featured three artists. So the very first episode was done by an artist who only did the one episode, the one chapter, and that was Angie Kincaid, who at the time was Angie Mills. She was married to Pat Mills, so she's not called Pat Mills anymore. So I wonder if that's why she only did one. But the first episode basically sets the groundwork for who Slaine is, and Ukko, of course, his objectionable little elf sidekick. And that was this, to be honest, is the weakest episode art-wise, because it feels more like the old 1980s Dungeons and Dragons campaign kind of artwork, that kind of style. She did a really nice map though. But after that, Massimo, is it Massimo? Yeah, Massimo Bellardinelli came on to art duties, and Mick McMahon also came on. Mick McMahon came on as well, so they did like alternate blocks of story on Slaine. Very contrasting styles. And at the time, I actually preferred, and this is weird saying it now because Mick McMahon is now one of my all-time favorite artists, but at the time I was only what 13, 14, and so I was the artwork by Bellardinelli just resonated more with me at that time because that's what I expected from like a sword and sorcery kind of adventure comic. It was much more that kind of style where the grotesque was grotesque, but there's just something a bit more grounded. Plus, I was a fan of Ace Truck and Co. What he did, and also the Dan Durr strip from years ago when 2000 AD first came out. So Bernardinelli did the initial story arc after Angie Kincaid. So as you can see, it's very much traditional. There's the famous warp spasm. Paper stock is so nice as well. Really thick paper stock. The oversized paper as well really accentuates the artwork. Bladiner wasn't afraid to get grotesque when he needed to. So really, really great introduction. So this like cushion kind of like gave you a soft introduction to Slaine. Lovely big spread there. So I like how they've got all the covers as well in here. So he kind of like gave you a cushion you to get used to Slaine. And there's some more covers. But then Mick McMahon came on, and I loved his artwork, what he did on Judge Dredd, but I wasn't the biggest Judge Dredd fan as an early teen. But I came to appreciate it more when I was 15, 16, going upwards. I love Judge Dredd now, it's like one of my all-time favourite characters. But Mick McMahon came on to do the artwork, but he changed his style completely. I was expecting him, when I saw that he was going to come on, I was expecting it to be like his Judge Dredd kind of artwork, but he changed his style, which what I love about him now, how he's very unpredictable. You just don't know what he's going to do with his art style. And with this, it had more like this, almost like a wood blocky kind of effect. Just like this really interesting, like shading style. What he did, where nothing was filled in full, and there's no like full blacks. It's just like this, almost like scratchy kind of effect. So this was a real shock to the system to me after being so cushioned and used to the Bernardinelli artwork. But now looking at this, is the far superior artwork. No disrespect to Bernardinelli, because I still have a huge amount of affection for him. He's one of my original goats when I was growing up. He's one of my idols. But Mick McMahon is just such an artistic genius. When he comes on something, it's like Kevin O'Neill. When he comes on something, it's hard to compete against him. But then Bernardinelli comes back on again. So, like I said, they kind of turns in different story arcs, and it's you might think it'd be jarring, but it isn't, because the writing plays to the strength of each of the artists. So there's like a nice Wicker Man kind of feel there. So Bernardo is good at doing grotesquerie, and so there's a lot of warp spasms, a lot of grotesque characters. So it works perfectly. He's great at doing action scenes. I forgot how much stuff he did for Slaine, actually. I mean, that warp thing there is just great. Nice woolly mammoth. This is one thing that I like about Slaine, that he's got over Conan. There's no limitations with Slaine because he's not owned by a publishing house or a family. You know, he's not owned by the estates of anybody. Pat Mills has freedom to do what he wants. And so the warp spasm, amazing. He can be as lecherous as he wants with Slaine the character. He can just go against character with him as well, because there's no rule book. It's his creation. And I mean, that is just wonderful. But you go from Bernardinelli back to McMahon, and he does more. He does really good character work. I think that's it. He does more character work. He can build more of a suspenseful kind of story atmosphere with his artwork. It's just so beautiful. And he draws Slaine very much a lot scrawnier than Bernardinelli does. And initially, it came as a shock, that, but you kind of get used to it, especially now as an adult. It doesn't bother me the same way. It's an artistic interpretation, but just wonderful. I wish that he did more work, but I'm grateful for any McMahon artwork I can get. He's just such a gorgeous draftsman. His layouts are just second to none. I mean, look at that shit. What's also good, like I said, they've got all the covers, not pages, great as well. But they've got all the covers from each issue that features Slaine. You know, each of the front covers that features Slaine, they have those included. But they also have a really interesting thing in here as well. If I can find it. There we go. Got Slaine Origins, and it gives like a list of different terminologies and characters and a bit of history of Slaine. So it's all based on Celtic mythology. So this what I like about Pat Mills. He does his homework, and he elaborates in here about what each character was in a certain period of time. And it finishes with a Bernardinelli final piece, but then the back, very last page, is this wonderful iconic Slaine by McMahon. So I've just started reading this. I'm doing this. We do a Discord club. So if you do want to know about it, do message me. Where we have a book club every Saturday. And the one that we're currently doing is because quite a few of the people on the Discord have copies of this or copies of Slaine in some format. And we're rereading this. It's a blast. I've just started it now. But yeah, I would give this for presentation. And I know the story's good. for everything, for the whole package. Real deserved 10 out of 10. Rebellion do some of the best graphic novels at the moment. It's just so handsome. It goes so nicely with my definitive Nemesis the Warlock as well. I hope they do that with ABC Warriors as well, because I missed out on the hardback collections. So yeah, so that's it. Do yourself a favour, pick this up. Bye.